I'm only on my first carafe of half calf, so I don't know why I'm flipping out today. I bet it's all this possum excitement I got.
Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Not jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. With Rudy Tibersi.
Today's episode brought to you by possums. You ever had a possum in your backyard while you're doing a podcast? Maybe not, but you have now. See a possum? Be nice to it. What is up, my friends? Hello and welcome to the 73rd episode of Jokes and the Gym with Rudy Tibersi. It's your boy, Rudy Tibersi, coming at you on a Monday and or Tuesday and or whatever day you're listening to this on. I tend to record on Monday, release on Tuesday. That's my flow. What's your flow? You have a weekly flow that you get into? It feels nice when you kind of get to know those rhythms of your own a little bit more, right? How can you set those rhythms in motion for yourself so they become less work, less effort, less, why do I have to do this again? How can you do that? How can you eliminate that resistance, that friction, that crunchy feeling that doesn't allow you to get all the shiznit done that you're trying to get done? Because I know for me, I got a lot of stuff out on my plate. I put so many things on there, I want to eat it up. And I go back to the input, the advice of Mike Kaplan, who I had on the podcast, episodes 30 something or other. I had him on. He was awesome. And one of the things that really resonated with me was to look at life like a menu. Like a menu. When you go to a restaurant, you're like, ooh, I love that. I want to get the taco salad and the burrito and the nachos and the tostada. But you can't. You can't get them all. What's the one thing you're going to put on your plate right now? What can you put on there and eat it up, gobble it up, and just really savor and enjoy? Is it a taco salad? Maybe I want to eat a taco salad. What can you do? What are the things in your life that you can consume in a way that allows you to get the most out of it, that allows you to put the most into it? What is it? How can you set yourself up for success? Because I think that's a lot of what I'm trying to figure out myself, and what I try to help clients with is how can you set yourself up for success? How can you decrease the hurdles you have to overcome in order to get to where you want to be? If it's going to the gym, get that gym bag ready, right? Have it ready the night before. Mosquito, not dead, darn it. If it's get the gym bag ready the night before. Get some extra underwear, some deodorant, put your water bottle, maybe a protein bar or a banana, a towel. Get your playlist ready. Put your headphones in there. Have your gum. I love gum in the gym. Don't be careful is what I've swallowed a lot of pieces of gum in the gym and I thought I was going to die, but I never once died from swallowing gum. So anyways, and don't spit it on the, make sure that I've put some in my pocket when I accidentally spit it out on the ground and I picked it up, I was like, and I put it in my pocket, and then I had gum in my pocket for weeks. So what are those hurdles? How can you get the gum out of your life? Or put it in your mouth, whichever one you prefer. How can you eliminate some of those hurdles when you're on your way to getting stuff done? I'm a little all over the place today because I had some excitement in the backyard. I just saw a possum. I was sitting down about ready to record, and I saw a possum out back, just sauntering around, wandering back and forth. One of the cats was out there. Milk was meowing at the possum. And we've had cat possum interactions before back here, and it's fine. The possum's pretty chill. It might have been pregnant. Possums are freaking weird, man. They look like a freaking Skeksis. You seen the Dark Crystal? They're just like, I'm a possum. They got those long anteater noses. They look like they're like 2 steps from death. That's how they're able to look dead so well. They can like slow down their body temperature. I don't know. I'm not a math guy. But it's been a nice morning, been a nice weekend. I had a couple slayers over this weekend, did some sleigh activities with the 90-day crew. Somebody came over and Had a workout in the back. One of the cats, Z, was hanging out with Abby. It was great. She had a good workout. The things that she said she learned in that little workout, because she wasn't like a lifter person, isn't necessarily into that. But in addition to the 6 movement patterns, push, pull, carry, squat, hinge, lunge, the 2 things that she said she took away from it were that, 1, warming up helps. Yes, warm up. Do some warm ups. I love a warm up. My go to warm up is 5 to 10 minutes of light cardio, walking, bike, elliptical, whatever you want. Then 5 to 10 minutes of like some light stretching. I start with circles. Neck circles, little neck circles, shoulder circles, some trunk rotation, hip circles, knee circles, ankle circles, elbow, wrist circles, those kind of things. Just do a check in. And then from there, start to do a little more musculation, maybe a squat, maybe a push-up, maybe a lunge, that kind of stuff, just to kind of get the movement patterns moving. And then you jump into the workout. And that's my go-to for a warm-up, okay? 5 minutes of cardio, light cardio. 5 minutes of light stretching. 5 minutes of light muscle work. So that's kind of how I would recommend anybody to do a warm-up if they're not sure where to start. And then, get some core in there. I've been loving the dead bug glute bridge combo lately. Oh, my back is feeling so good lately because I'm doing dead bugs and glute bridges with clients 3 times a day. And I'm doing on myself. And it's just like helping a lot with my lordosis, my borbosis, and I'm loving it. So, and then I went up a mountain with Bert. Bert and I climbed up the butte. And it was a butte. It was a nice kind of gray day, and that's nice. A nice overcast Saturday. Had fun up there. So it was great to connect, great to get out and about, out in the wild, and spend some time with friends. Spend some time with cats. Spend some time in nature. So those were some things I did this weekend that felt really, really good. Oh, and then I say Final Destination in the theater. I'd been meaning to go to the theaters for a while. Final Destination was fun, man. Oh, it was good. I just came down from a mountain, so I ate 2 bags of popcorn. Hex, yes, loved it. When you eat popcorn in the movie theater, you might as well be dead and in heaven because it doesn't get much better than that. Go have popcorn in a dark movie theater while watching someone's head get smashed in? Ugh, what a day. What a life. We can experience that and then come out being just fine. See possums, life is beautiful. Roberto Benigni, best actor. Was he? Probably not. And so I'm going to start doing a couple different things on the podcast that I enjoy, that I think people might enjoy. I would enjoy if I was listening to a podcast. I'm going to do some like book stuff, some movie stuff, some other stuff like that. So I'm going to review. I read a book. A physical, actual book this year for the first time in a while. Longer than I'd like to admit. I mean, I've listened to some books on tape. I sound like I'm from the 1980s. I used my Hoopla app or Libby. I've used those apps plenty to listen to books recently. If you're not a member of your local public library, become one and then go use their apps because they have free books, resources. You don't have to pay Bezos, Amazon blood money. You can go get that shit for free, dog. Go to your local library. Eugene Public is what I'm saying. Downtown. Sit on that bench with that statue of a person. Was it? I'm not sure who it is. I don't even want to guess. So, the book that I read over the past month or so, I was so excited. I've been looking forward to it for a long time because it's from like the guy whose podcast I've been listening to all year. It's one of the few podcasts I listen to regularly or watch it on YouTube. Jefferson Fisher of the Jefferson Fisher podcast. He's this Southern lawyer, but he's like likable and charming and handsome and charismatic and humble, and you just want to hang out with him. And so I've really enjoyed learning from him over the past year because he talks about communication in a really applicable way. I talk with so many people about the things I've learned, like how to have difficult conversations or how to communicate in the midst of big emotions or how to deal with someone who dismisses you or stuff like that. And like really applicable stuff that can be really challenging. And so he'd been plugging this book all year long. And so I was super duper excited. And I was like, when's the book come? When's it going to blah, 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 blah. Come on, Jefferson. You're talking about the book for so long. When's it freaking here? And guess what? It's freaking here. And you can buy it wherever you want. So buy it. It's called The Next Conversation. Argue Less, Talk More. Some of you might not like that, by Jefferson Fisher. And if you don't want to buy it, just take in his content, his free online content, YouTube, the Gram, whatever, all that stuff. He's a delight to watch and has super applicable information. So I thought today I would just talk a little bit about what I got from the book, why I liked it, a couple things that I learned, and a couple things that people could maybe take away. Some, because it reminds me of some of my favorite books that I have been following and reading for years, if not decades. Two of my favorites, I'll tell you, two of my favorite books on communication and just life in general that this reminds me of. Hint, Don Miguel Ruiz and Marshall Rosenberg are the authors of those other books. And The Next Conversation, I wrote down a few things that I thought that came to mind when looking back on the book. It's not like some school book report. It's just I'm going to talk about some of the things that I liked, because there's so much in there, so much you can glean from it, so much joy and help you can get from it. How does that sound? I like the sounds of that. So one of the big things from The Next Conversation, it says, argue less, talk more, is don't try to win arguments. Don't try to win an argument. That's not what we're here for. If you're here trying to connect with someone, if you're trying to learn from someone, then trying to win arguments can be one of the quickest ways to drive disconnection. That reminds me of Brene Brown points as well, right? So if you're trying to win an argument and prove your point, yuck. That's not a way to get closer with people, is it? Think about the last time you won an argument, and how did that make your relationship with that other person? I don't know. Probably made them feel a little meek or a little weird, or you got to feel high and mighty for a moment, or maybe you just loved it and you just rolled on to the next one and you just kept winning arguments. Maybe that feels good to you. But for me, that's not what I'm shooting for. I'm shooting for connection and trying to just win, prove your point. It doesn't feel awesome. Nobody after an argument is like, that was a great argument. I feel like you see me. You know, that doesn't exactly work that way. So one of the things that I think is also super helpful that he talks about in there, I forget which section it was, but as far as responses are concerned, because there's a few ways that I'm going to share that I really liked what he has to say about how to respond. But one of them is to take a breath. Take a breath. Just if you're feeling yourself getting elevated, if you're feeling uncertain, if you're feeling concerned or whatever, take a breath. Oh, the possum's back. Hi, Possum. How are you? This is going to be also a possum episode, so don't worry, because Possum is life. Possum, and then Possum, how you doing, bud? I wonder if that possum's about to have a kid or 8 kids. How do possum kids work? I'm not quite sure. Possum, are you good, man? Woman? Possum person? Well, we'll see. I'll keep you updated with the possums. I'm not trying to have an argument with that possum because I want the possum to feel seen. Where were we? Yeah, just take a breath. If you're in the heat of the moment and you don't want to get upset, take a breath. And I have done this recently. I've used a lot of Jefferson's tactics, either in preparation for challenging conversations or in the midst of challenging conversations, because it's so valuable to not just immediately dive into those feelings, because you can have feelings, you can have emotional responses. I do. I know I do. I get in them. And it's my job to not let them always rule me. Yes, they're influencing who I am and what I do and how I respond. And you don't have to let them control you all the time. And if you are in spaces with people who appreciate you, then you can have emotional responses sometimes, and those connections can still be strong and good. But you have to be careful, and you have to nurture an environment that is open to that is conducive to that. It's part of our jobs as humans, right? To feel emotion within community. And I have found that is a hard thing to do, and not everybody's ready to see my emotions. It's been hard. Oh, it's been hard. This whole thing has been hard to just really feel my emotions in the midst of community, because it's not always welcome. It doesn't always feel like emotions are welcome. People think that you need to just be quiet and meek a lot of the time. And I'm not saying be loud and brash and an asshole. Exactly. I'm saying exactly the opposite. But our emotions do take a lot of our energy, a lot of our bandwidth. And sometimes just taking a breath is the biggest thing that can help. A couple other responses that I really love in there are silence. So, in addition to taking a breath, you're probably being silent. But if someone asks a question that's maybe trying to provoke a response, be silent. Listen. Just be quiet for 5 to 10 seconds. Don't say anything. And if someone's saying something that's starting to get testy, angry, feisty, jabbing, you can throw that back at them. Not in this like gnarly way, but if they say something and you go, was that supposed to hurt me? Or how is that supposed to make me feel? Or you can just repeat what they said to them in another way, because a lot of times when you give attention to that thing, they were not expecting you to give attention to it. They wanted you to take the bait. They want provoke or praise from you a lot of the time. And when you don't play that game, that's what he calls it, a rigged carnival game. Don't take the bait. Either be silent, you can say no, you can ask, well, how is that supposed to make me feel? But when you tell yourself that dismissiveness does not threaten you, dismissiveness does not threaten me. When you tell yourself that stuff, ooh, that's powerful. That's kryptonite to a lot of people. When someone is trying to get a rise out of you and you don't allow it to happen because you're aware of yourself and of how conversations work, then you're going in with the confidence to communicate and connect in a way that not everyone is able to do. And I think that's what he's trying to do, is give people the tools to have really good communication and connection skills. That's what I love. You've maybe listened to my 3 C's of communication episode: comfortable, confident, curious. And that's another thing that's echoed in this book, is to enter conversations with curiosity. Enter conversations with curiosity over confrontation. And that's how it resembles nonviolent communication by Marshall, the one and only Marsh. So those are a couple things. What else? Couple other things that were really helpful were to frame your conversation. If you go into a conversation with somebody that you want to accomplish something, a possum's back. Possum's back. What's up, Piggity Possum? Oh, this possum is in the building or outside of the building. They live under the shed. I feel like they're going to give birth under that shed. That possum, oh no, are you coming nearer? Where's the possum going? Possum's kind of coming this way. Possum, how are you, buddy? Possum hears my dulcet tones and is just hanging out, listening to the Possum Cast. Today's episode brought to you by possums. You ever had a possum in your backyard while you're doing a podcast? Maybe not, but you have now. See a possum? Be nice to it. Try to connect. How would Jefferson Fisher react to this podcast? This possum podcast? But framing. If you're trying to go into a conversation with somebody and you got a million things you want to say, it's kind of hard. That's too much. Calm down, right? Have something you want to focus on and try to frame that, okay? Try to get something out of that piece. I've been trying to, one of my goals this year was to gain greater written and verbal clarity. And this book came to me in that process. So I'm super thankful for it. And I feel like it has helped me do that. One of the other big things is to eliminate all these filler words. And I think I've been doing a better job of that, especially here in the podcast, the Possum Cast. Eliminating ums, ahs, hms, what do you think? That kind of stuff. And, it happens. It's fine. It's okay. Those things are still going to pop up when we're conversating, when we're communicating. It's not always super easy to know exactly what you're going to say. Oh, no. I'm letting the girl cat in right now. It's not always super easy. And not always do we want to know exactly what we're going to say. It can come off as disingenuous. Hi, Baba. Have you seen the possum girl? Just let the cat in. But by working on your assertive voice, that's something he talks about. Assertive versus aggressive or passive. So assertive is in the middle of aggressive and passive. And that's where we kind of want to be. We don't want to be aggressive. It'll throw people off. We don't want to be passive because people can walk all over us. But if you're assertive in your voice by eliminating these ums, ahs, unnecessary fillers. And another big one, I did an episode on this. Don't say sorry. Don't apologize for a ton of stuff all the time. We're apologizing so much of the time, and we probably don't need to. If you hurt someone, if you did something, if you made an actual mistake, sure, say sorry. Give an apology. Do your best. But if you're not, if you're just like, oh, sorry to bother you, but that's you trying to get smaller, right? We don't need to take up the whole room, but we want to be a part of the room. Does that make sense? I think it does. But yeah, also just don't be an ass, right? You don't want to be this overly aggressive butt face. Nor do you want to be a limp-wristed, steamrollable piece of dough that anyone can just do whatever they want with. So those are some things that I really appreciated about that book. Some of the things you might take from it are different, and there's so many other things in there. So read the book. It's totally worth it. I got the big print one because I'm a 70-year-old who does crossword puzzles, but I like this version. I like a paperback. I like to be able to flip through it, sniff that book spine. Oh, it smells good. Smell a book, feel a book, love a book, lick a book. Do whatever you want to a book, but read a book. Let's say read a book. And so those are some things I learned from the book. A couple ways it kind of reminded me of two of my favorite books, Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg and The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, is how both with NVC and the next conversation, you focus on your needs and your feelings. So like feelings are a part of it, needs are a part of it, but being able to connect and communicate those needs and those feelings is also a big part of it. How can we do that? How can we get better at that? Again, approaching conversations with curiosity over confrontation. How can you speak in a way that allows the listener to hear what you're saying? I'm not trying to win the conversation. I'm not trying to prove my point to them. I'm trying to communicate what I need. I'm trying to communicate my feelings in a way that allows other people to hear. And I think so much of the time people aren't even doing that anymore. And that breaks my heart. It's so sad to see all the time. Man. I don't know if this is totally related, but I was walking into work at the Y the other day, and people are so loving and happy and friendly. And I asked 5 people this question before even telling this story. What side of the sidewalk do you walk on in Oregon? What side should you walk on in Oregon or anywhere? In the States, maybe? In other places, it might be different. But I asked a handful of people this, and at least 80% of them said the right side, as in not the correct side, the right hand side, orenchok. I think that's right in Korean, right? What's I'm learning Spanish. Izquierda, is that to the left? I forget. A la derecha, is that to the right in Spanish? Tell me, Duolingo. Friggin' Duolingo. The bane of my existence. Oh no, it's 11:30. Am I gonna get I forgot my Duolingo? And then you open up the app and you're like, I didn't forget it. I did it this morning. Dang it. I didn't frame that. Aside. That was an aside. That's why I like notes, because I can do an aside and then come back to the notes. I'm back on track. So I'm walking down the right-hand side of the walkway, of the sidewalk, and there's a person in like literally the middle, head down on his phone, on their phone. And then there was a woman on the right side. I'm walking towards them. There's a woman, and then this other person kind of like taking up both sides of the sidewalk, and I'm on the right side. And as I kind of like I do a shimmy, I go whoop, like a shimmy. I make myself smaller because otherwise I'd have had to play Frogger between these two other people. But I shimmy to the side and I go, watch out, like just like that, in a friendly, playful vibe. And a couple steps later, the person that I said, watch out to, turns around and goes, you mean excuse me, not watch out. And I was blown away. Like, that was not what I was expecting at all walking into work. And I turned around, just kind of dumbfounded, and I was like, sorry. Just like that. I go, watch out. Sorry. That was my whole interaction, but it threw me off for like the half of the day. And I spoke with people about it because it really was a really interesting, felt like an unnecessary interaction. But just thinking about it again, going to the four agreements, which this book also reminded me of, is not taking things personally. Not taking things, that's not about me. That person who got upset for me trying not to hit them and saying watch out on my way around them, that's not about me. And if it is, that's not my problem. You know, I'm I'm not going to attach myself too strongly to that emotional bait. But I'm still thinking about it because I'm one of those people who thinks about stuff like that, you know? Sometimes it happens and sometimes you feel weird. So, other ways this book it overlaps with the four agreements is being impeccable with your word. That's agreement number 1. And being clear and kind with your truth. I love being impeccable with your word. Like, that's good. I believe in the power of words. Words are magic. They have spells. They have a power. And when you just throw them about willy-nilly, weird things can happen. And so it's no wonder that your life is a mess if you're just using your word this way, that, and the other. But if instead you have focus with your word and what you are trying to say, what you're trying to communicate with people, then I think you're moving in a direction. Your words will guide you in the direction that you're looking for. And so that's one of the reasons I really love having something to teach while being a trainer at the Y, helping people learn the movement patterns, the planes of movement, ways to overcome obstacles in their day-to-day life in order to make their goals more of a reality. Get closer to those goals. You can meet your goals right now. If your goal is lose X amount of pounds, gain X amount of muscle, go from 100 to 300 pounds on the bench press or whatever, you can't do that right now. But you can go to the gym today, right? You can do a push-up in your backyard or an incline push-up or a supported squat and work closer and closer to what you want to do. So I need to drink some water. I'm only on my first carafe of half calf, so I don't know why I'm flipping out today. I bet it's all this possum excitement I got. What are the other ways that it kind of aligns with the four agreements? Don't take things personal. Again, detaching from that emotional bait. You don't have to jump in every time someone tries to get a rise out of you. You don't have to react. Don't make assumptions. You don't have to think you know it all. Ask a question. If you're going to have a conversation with someone that's challenging, don't go in there guns blazing. If you want to, you can. Go for it. But ask questions. See where the other person is coming from before making assumptions, because I think that's where we get in a lot of trouble as communicators, is by making assumptions. And then the fourth one, always do your best, especially when your best means taking a breath, taking it easy. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. Maybe your best tonight at the mic isn't as best as your best tomorrow because you only got 3 hours of sleep last night and it's 9 p.m. and 4 people are there and you didn't have dinner. So your best at that point is not going to be the same as your best at another point. So take all that stuff into consideration when you're trying to have conversations. Are you trying to, if you want to have a conversation, because I've had some challenging conversations in the last couple months, and at least on one of those times, the person that I spoke with was like, I really appreciated how you approached that conversation. And I have Jefferson Fisher to thank in part for that, because I took the lessons that I was learning from his podcasts, his words, his book, and I tried to apply them in everyday life. And I think he does an awesome job of helping you apply conversational methods and tactics into your everyday life. So if you're looking for a book to read, and if you're interested in communication, check out Jefferson Fisher's book. Go buy it. You can find it at places. You can see it all over the spaces. Or if you're around, you can borrow mine for a little while. So that's it. That's Rudy's book reviews up in your ears. And that was a bad song. I'll work on the jingle. But I do want to do more book reviews. I got a couple books that I have read that I love, that I've been meaning to reread for a while. If you have any books you'd like me to review in my own way, then let me know. Shout out, holler, jokesandthegym@gmail.com, or find me on the apps, Jokes and the Gym, or at Rudy Tibersi. Both work. A couple of the books that I have right here, I got 4 that I'm thinking about. They're all good. I've read them before. Any of those look good? Murakami's What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. Really good book. Mastering Stand-Up by Stephen Rosenfeld. Super thoughtful book about stand-up. It's one of my favorite books I've found on stand-up. And I'm actually going to reach out to like all of these authors at some point to see if they want to be on the podcast, because that's what I want to do. Have you written a book? Do you like books? Are you an actual book? Be on the podcast. I'm going to start. Last week I had my mom on the pod, and I'm going to start having more guests back on the pod because it's so much fun to chat with people and try to learn from them. So what do we got? Here's these 4. Murakami, What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. Mastering Stand-Up by Stephen Rosenfeld. Zen and the Art of Stand-Up Comedy by Jay Sankey, a classic. It's hard to find. It's hard to find that one. And then The 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin, talking about our internal and external motivators and how we respond to them. I like that. It's a helpful framework to think about how you respond to motivating factors. So that's it. Maybe this was a little longer than I intended. I'm not sure, but that's okay. It's half an hour. Just listening for a half an hour. Maybe it enriched your life. Maybe it didn't. Maybe you finished this podcast and you're like, that was a waste of time. And if so, well then, I'll see you later. But I don't think that's what today was. I think today was a useful podcast. I really like this book, and I hope that you got something from listening to me yabber on about it. And me and my possum, the Possum Cast. We'll see if the possum shows up. I'll let you know how the possum babies. Maybe the mama possum's trying to show me her possum babies. That's not impossible. You know what I'm saying? Bow, 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 bow. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you do something today that makes you happy. I hope you move your body. Maybe do a wiggle, give a hug, do a jiggle, do something that makes you feel good. Because you know what? This made me feel good. And I hope it made you feel some kind of way. Anyways, my name's Rudy. Hope you have a great day. Holla at you, boy. If you got any questions, you want to be on the pod. You have questions about working out? Shoot your shot. I'll respond to emails. Sometimes I get lost in the muck, but send it. Send it my way, dogs. I'd love to hear from you. Hope you're having a great day. Go pet a possum, and I'll see you next time. Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym.
Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Not jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. With Rudy Tibersi.
That you want to accomplish something, a possum's back. Possum's back. What's up, Piggity Possum? Oh, this possum is in the building or outside of the building. They live under the shed. I feel like they're going to give birth under that shed. That possum, oh no, are you coming nearer? Where's the possum going? Possum's kind of coming this way. Possum, how are you, buddy? Possum hears my dulcet tones and is just hanging out listening to the Possum Cast.